I'm Alina Adams, soap hub writer and author of Go On Pretending, a novel set in the world of soaps. We interrupt our regularly scheduled podcast for a very special episode on the 2025 Daytime Emmys. Soap Hub was on the red carpet Friday night, and we're going to take you behind the scenes.
Hi, I'm Rachel Dillin, editor-in-chief of soaphub.com.
And I'm Tina Charles, managing editor of soaphub.com.
And you were both on the red carpet. Those of us who watched at home only saw what happened at the ceremony. So tell us, give us all the scoop. What's it like to be on the red carpet at the Daytime Emmys?
You could start.
So super crowded. It was super crowded. It's so fast. This year they combined ceremonies. So there were a lot more nominees and television shows represented. So it seemed even, because, red carpets are pretty chaotic. It seemed even more chaotic than usual, though, to tell you the truth. There were times, because they stayed around, we were towards the end of the red carpet, and there were just so many people milling, and there were people beside us and people behind them, and so it was a lot.
Yeah, and we concentrated on the soap people. But there were, people from talk shows, people from animal shows, judge shows, all milling about and getting interviewed as well. So there was a lot of just trying to figure out who to get and trying to get the attention of publicists and everything like that. So, but it was fun. It was one person after another.
So fun. Fast and furious.
Or we were just waiting for, it was both. So, but it was fun. And I loved talking to everybody. It was fun to talk to people about their soap, their characters, and just, why they were there at the Emmys, if they were nominated or whatever.
Which interview comes to mind first when you think about this is the interview that defined my Daytime Emmy experience?
I don't know. I think Allie Mills was great.
Gosh, hers was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was excited to be there. She was excited that her TV daughter was nominated, Avery Kristen Pohl, and who was also there. I did not get to talk to Esme. It was upsetting. But we got to talk to Allie about a little bit of everything, about Heather Weber, about her husband who had passed away, about she had just done a play in Kansas, and I'm from Missouri, so we got to sort of bond on the whole Midwestern thing, and it was fun.
The other interview I really loved is Susan Walters and Lyndon Ashby. They were both nominated. They're married, and they've been married for 40 years. They walked the carpet together, and they interviewed together. And I don't know, it was just so sweet to kind of see their back and forth and who answered what questions. And
Susan, Susan got to josh around a little bit with Peter Bergman, who was talking to, I think, Daytime Confidential at the same time as they were talking to us.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
That was really cute. And then I also just enjoyed, because we hadn't, not that we didn't know that Elizabeth Hendrickson had started directing, but it was really, she had so many good things to say about what it was like to get on the other side of that camera, so many insights, and then who helped her, who she filmed with that very first day she directed. And it was
the heavyweights. She started out with Melody and Eric Braeden and
she said Peter
and Michelle Stafford, I think.
Yeah, on day one. So
that interview is up right now on Soap Hub. So people who go to the Soap Hub YouTube channel can already see Elizabeth Hendrickson's interview.
Yes. Yep.
And I love talking to Connor Floyd, who's
my fave,
the actor that's in between two shows, right? So I got to talk to him about his death scene on Young and the Restless. Do you want to say what he said about that?
Yes, he told us that he looked to Denzel Washington's performances to get some ideas on how to die well on screen. He's just a good interview. I like Connor. We're from the same area of the country, and we had a good time.
And we got to talk to him about what it's like to work with the Days cast and when he's going to start appearing on Days, which is in April of 2026.
Yeah. So. And he told us that Billy Flynn and he had about a month of overlap together at Y&R. And he said Billy gave him the lowdown, who to meet, who to not make mad, all of those things, what to do. So he felt like he went in a little bit prepared, which was awesome.
And then finally, I really enjoy. Well, I love talking to everybody. Honestly, everybody.
Sure.
I got to talk to Judy Bly Wilson, casting legend.
So good.
And also Sherry Jimenez from Days of Our Lives. It was so fun to talk to her because her character is in such a fun place right now where her character can go anywhere. She just made out, Gabby just made out with Philip, but she also showed chemistry with Theo, and that could totally turn into a triangle with her daughter. And so Sherry just sounded very excited about what's ahead for her character.
Absolutely. And we got to talk to the Noah Newman actor whose face has been all bandaged up, Lucas Adams.
Mhm.
And he gave us a little bit of insight into when Noah's face will finally be seen and all of that. So that was really an interesting. Some of these were very interesting because we knew they were on the show or whatever, but they really haven't gotten in to be those characters yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Tina, you said you missed Avery Pohl. So who was the one that got away for both of you?
Well, okay. So Nancy Lee Graham, we were supposed to talk to, but then somebody else came up to us. And so it's how it happens. It's like the nature of the beast is you're planning to talk to one person and then all of a sudden somebody else comes up and then you lose that other person. So it would have been great to have talked to Nancy Lee Graham, especially since she won later that night. And also Paul Telfer and Lindsay Godfrey just walked by and it was like, what?
It was getting towards the end.
But yeah, and another fun interview though was Eric Martzoff from
so
Days of
great.
Our Lives,
Great.
nominee, and he was just so great to talk to.
Yeah. And we got to see him a little bit outside before was it after the ceremony? Or
After,
before?
yeah.
And he had his sons with him and his wife and talked about his character. This is pretty much off the record probably, but talked about his character almost being a grandpa, which he's not ready to be in real life.
So where can fans see all these fabulous Soap Hub interviews?
Well, we're hoping to have them up so we have a few things going on. We're going to try to have a few more up this weekend, and then over the next couple of weeks, we'll put a few out. But the other thing Tina did is we got to talk to them about what their character might be thankful for and that kind of things as the holidays are coming up. So we're going to save back some of these for November, closer to Thanksgiving. Yeah.
It's practically the end of October, so the holidays are here, and I think they've already started on Hallmark and all the other holiday movie channels, so we're good.
Yeah.
They'll be up soon.
Yes. So we're going to have some soon, but then we saved some fun treats to make a Thanksgiving more memorable.
I just want to interject. I just want to interject one more interview that I forgot about was Rory Gibson from General Hospital. And it was so great to talk to him. He was so happy about being on General Hospital. And we even talked about his first scene where he walked in to the nurses' ball, picked up Wiley, and then walked out. And he told us about how it was probably the best way to be introduced to the cast because he got to know a lot of people, but he didn't have a lot of dialogue to memorize.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk winners. Let's talk categories. Let's start with emerging talent. Lisa Yamada was the winner. She has been fabulous. She has been doing incredible work. She was the one who I really thought popped in that category. Her speech thanking her mommy and daddy. Those of us who are mommies and daddies with children perhaps might not be the most grateful, are thinking, wow, that is so sweet. So you were also in the press room when the winners come through. So you saw things we didn't see. So how was Lisa Yamada when she came into the press room?
During her acceptance speech, she was very emotional on stage.
She said she was ugly crying.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the press room, at least at the beginning, before she started talking to reporters and everything, she was just as emotional.
Yeah.
She was smiling big, but she was also teary. And it was great to see. It made us emotional.
Yeah. And she was just so happy. I think she was just she even seemed, I don't know if a surprise was it, because surely she knew that she, had great performances, but she just seemed very grateful that she was there and had the chance to act, had her parents' support, and she stayed very emotional.
Although let's dish a little bit about what this category means. So we agree Lisa was the rightful, deserving, wonderful winner, but some of the nominees were confusing. I get Lisa. I
Mhm.
get Ashley Puzemes, who's new on Days of Our Lives. This is probably one of her first major roles. But Olivia Dabo has been around forever. She even said during the ceremony, Allie Mills played her mom on The Wonder Years.
And Allie Time,
Talk a
yeah.
little bit about
And,
that.
and Annalyn McCord has been on primetime shows. So what
They're
is this?
emerging daytime
Daytime.
phases.
Yeah.
That's what Tina reminded anyone who talked about.
But it felt odd. It felt like an odd competition, sort of.
It
The
was.
level was there. So, was there any comment on it when you were there at the ceremony? Were other people as confused as I am?
I don't think we really talked specifically
No.
about categories.
No, I mean, Allie mentioned
Yeah.
maybe that she had been around for a while,
Yeah.
and that's when Tina was like, well,
Well,
on
daytime.
daytime.
Well,
But
which brings us straight into Allie, who was the guest performer winner again.
yeah, second.
Together.
Is that
So
her
you
second?
said,
I think that's her second.
Mhm.
yeah, you said you had a great interview with her beforehand. What was she like afterwards?
She ended up staying in the press room for a
A
long
long
time.
time.
Like, she made sure to talk to everybody,
Mhm.
and, and also it's also a chance for actors to talk to other actors
yeah.
from different shows and everything like that. So she was there in the press room
She
for a long
did, and
time.
she mingled. I kept looking at, oh, Allie's still here. She's so great. Like every time I talked to her, I got to talk to her last year too when she was nominated but lost to Dick Van Dyke, and she's just such fun. She has a great energy. She loves what she does. She really was happy, and I really liked how gracious she was with her time.
When she started during our interview on the red carpet, she talked about some of the other things that she's been doing to keep busy, including work for the homeless.
Yes.
And
She's been involved in that charity for a while.
yeah, so she talked about how much that means to her and what she's learned about herself, and that was really great.
Yeah, and
It was a
she
great
got
moment.
emotional about that as
Mhm.
well. Yeah.
While she's absolutely terrific, and Heather is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, so that's an original character. Would have been kind of fun to see Lyndon Ashby
Would've been
win
cute.
because his wife, Susan Walters, won the Supporting Actress Award, and it was the only major Y&R win of the night. So how did that play out in Pasadena?
I'll tell you this much, and this is nothing at all, and all the nominees were amazing, but
Mhm.
people in the press room when it was announced cheered when Susan won. It was her
Right.
first nomination, and she's been
She started on Loving. She's
Yeah.
Loving.
been
Not to
she's
mention all the
excellent.
primetime shows that she's been part of. And
Mhm.
her and Lyndon both have been part of so many primetime
Yeah.
shows. So I was genuinely really happy when her name was announced.
So happy. We cheered along with other people, and then there were other press there maybe who didn't know soaps as well. And I remember another press member turned to me and said, "Oh, people like her." And you're like, "Well, yeah, we do."
As you said, I've also interviewed her and Lyndon together, and they are so lovely and so delightful. So people actually like her. They like her as an actress, but I
Right.
feel people really like her. And as you said, they've both been on prime time quite a while. When I was explaining it to my daughter, I said, well, Caitlin on The Flash, she's her
Yes.
mom. And my husband was like, remember that spy show with Allison Smith? And he went, Lyndon Ashby? I said, yes, that's who it is. So they do. And I think because they are genuinely nice people, I think people genuinely like them. So our next category, supporting actor Jonathan Jackson, 6th career win. I mean, he'd won for Younger a couple of times, but 6th career win, Jonathan Jackson.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
what he does. He wins Emmys.
He does a good job. He's not on General Hospital anymore, was that a theme of some of the nominations? A lot of the people nominated were no longer on the soap, so.
Yeah, he won his very first Emmy in 1995. That was also the first Emmy Awards I covered. I think he was 13. And I remember that Tony Geary and Jeannie Francis specifically asked to present the younger actor category because they were so sure he would win. And people were like, the fix is in, the fix is in. It's like, no. He was so obviously amazing from the first time.
Oh, always.
Showed up on General Hospital. He was such a clear winner. And it was so cute. He cried. He cried on stage. He said, I want to thank them, pointing at Tony and Jeannie. And he had a tie made out of a film strip that he was going around showing everyone. And so cute. And now the 6th career win, because even though he's not on the show anymore, he had good material. Once he stopped playing cards with Holly and wherever it is they were, he actually had some great material with Jeannie and with Becky Herbst.
Sure to thank, like, extra special thanks to Jeannie Francis
Yeah.
during his acceptance speech. And then I'm pretty sure that Jonathan showed up at the end after GH, kind of cut to the GH win for Outstanding Series.
Yeah.
But he came out and posed with the cast.
He did, and he posed again when the people that were there
Mhm.
did their cast photos for the win, and he was holding his Emmy. It was really nice.
All right, lead actress, you said you missed her on the red carpet, Nancy Lee Grahn. Did you get her in the press room?
We did not.
No,
We
but
have
she
the
was
coolest
there.
thing to
Yeah.
tell you.
Yes.
Probably one of the coolest behind the scenes moments last night. Deidre was back in the press room for a long time. Deidre Hall was it?
She had given an award
Yeah.
to Deborah Norville.
And she was back there, and Nancy was showing up and about to go, in front of all the photographers, and Deidre was like, no. And they took a moment and powdered her
She
nose.
was a little shiny.
She got her unshiny before the photos. And it was just a really genuine, caring, sweet moment.
Two
Love
soap legends.
to see those two women together caring about each other was really cool. Really, really cool.
So, with Nancy Lee Grahn's win, do we think that the Young and the Restless actresses all canceled each other out? Because there were so many Young and the Restless women in that category. They're all strong.
It was such a strong category.
Yeah.
There's not a nominee who doesn't deserve it. That goes with saying. That isn't to suggest that there's not a winner who doesn't deserve it and there's not a nominee who doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
But from your sort of math perspective, do we think that's what happened to YNR?
Probably.
That's what we were talking about. Definitely if there's more from your soap, it's maybe a little tougher to win. Although last year I think Courtney Hope did win. And there were
Yes,
multiple.
and Michelle Stafford did
Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, so it does happen, but it does seem harder. But Nancy was, amazing too. So very.
It seemed like a really big night for General Hospital, but then Paul Telfer pulled it out in lead actor for Days of Our Lives.
That was another one that everybody
Cheers.
was cheering at the press room.
You guys, he was so cute. Whenever he was like for a second trying to be just like super cool. This, by the way, was his second Emmys to attend. Last year was his first, and he talked to us about that last year on the red carpet. But he came out there, was holding his Emmy. And he was trying to be cool, and then he was like, "I thought I could be cool, but I can't be cool." And he was like, and he just let his excitement out. Just so.
And then he made sure to talk to every outlet that he could, So he was in the press room for a while too.
Yeah, he was, and he was just he's talking about so many of these actors who are great humans. He's just such a great and sweet, gracious, good human.
Yeah, well, especially since we have footage of Paul Telfer from an event 2 weeks ago when Days of Our Lives was honored. And at the time, he was talking about his wife and how she's doing a show in New Jersey, Bull Durham, I think the musical version, and everyone should come see it. And at the Emmys, so I think the marketing department for Bull Durham, the musical, should put him on retainer. But
He should be.
that's exactly what he meant. Even at this moment, he's thinking about someone other than himself.
Yes.
And he always is. And whenever I interview him, he always talks about what he learned from John Aniston and from Drake Hogestyn and all of those people. So I think, when you talk about people being liked, the whole press room applauds. Yes, they applaud a performance, but they applaud a human being.
It's true. And Paul, I'm going to make this point for you and us. We were the only people there, right? The only soap outlet, Alina, at that event that you covered for us in New York a couple of weeks ago when you talked to Paul. So that was exciting that we got to have that coverage. Thank you.
And of course, the then outstanding writing, outstanding directing, outstanding show. General Hospital comes in and sweeps. So what was that like? What was the atmosphere like in Pasadena when it seemed like this was General Hospital's night?
Yes, their publicist, I congratulated her many times when she walked past us.
She had a smile on her face and she was busy.
Woman, for sure.
I think that GH was the most consistent show of the past
Yeah.
year. So I don't think it was a surprising development. Yeah, but I don't think anybody was really focusing on GH had swept everything. They were just really happy for the individual wins.
Yeah, and then, when the cast was back there, they were excited and ready to go and not enjoy their win after and celebrate, so that was nice.
And what was great is when the actors all lined up for their photos with the photographers, like they put Nancy Lee Grahn dead center with her Emmy, and everybody was sort of flanking her around her. And so that was fun too.
Yeah, it was cute.
Were there any other moments that we who were watching it either at home or even people in the arena that missed? Were there things that going on behind the scenes? Come on, let us feel like we were there.
Something that was interesting, and I think you guys knew this happened because it happened in the ceremony, but when they had the fan
Oh, yes.
who read the win, she came back with Jonathan Jackson and they took a picture together, and then we asked her a little bit, and we asked how she got picked, and she said she literally was just sitting in the right seat. Like that's how they picked her. So it was really cool. It was a cool moment.
Yeah, and I just really like the little moments. I mean, there were the big moments like Deidre and Nancy Lee Grahn, which was just, I'm just like, I cannot believe what
It
I'm
was so
watching right
sweet.
now.
Cool.
But like on the red carpet, there was just always little moments. Like Eric Martov was talking to us. Emily O'Brien was talking with 3 of the other days actresses next to us, but they ended up like cross talking and kind of like, so Emily sort of became a little bit a part of our interview for a second there. So I just like little moments. And like Susan Walters and Peter Bergman, while they were talking to different outlets, they were kind of having fun with each other. So that kind of thing. I love that.
Cute. And then I will say this too, and this is tooting the press's own horn, but the soap press is really, we have good relationships. We got shouted out on a live stream with Soap Opera Network, and we have a really good everybody shared and was careful with each other, and if that kind of thing happened, no one was upset. And I appreciate that. The soap press is also, that, Alina, we work hard. I'm sure all press works hard, but
Yeah, like one community, and we all have the same objective, which is uplift the soaps. And I think that's very different from what you might get press, even other entertainment press.
Yeah, and I think the actors, they get that, and they get that we know what we're talking about and everything like that. I was interviewing Gregory Harrison, and I'm asking him a question about what it was like to work with the cast during that last story of his that got him the nomination. And I'm just like naming names, and he's like, "Oh, you're a fan." I was like, "Yes."
You can't
That's
watch
why
all
I'm
of
here.
these soaps and not be a fan. It's just
Yeah.
how it is.
It's so funny that you say that because the videos that we talked about from the Broadcast Hall of Fame that we currently have up on the Sub Hub YouTube channel, we had done not just Paul, but Eric Marstoff and Deidre and James Reynolds and Abigail Klein. And it was funny because my daughter, who's 18 and also studying media, she was watching it and she said, they seemed really surprised that you knew what was going on the show. They seemed to really like your questions because you knew who they were and you were asking them a question. And this was someone like, so she didn't know anything about it, but she got that. And I think that is what you were saying. The soap actors know that the soap press is there to support them. We're not there to gotcha them or anything else. And I think it makes for a really nice community. Now I'm getting teary-eyed like
I
you said,
know.
but it really makes for a really strong community.
It does. And it was such a nice night to celebrate with other, because, even after, like, we went out with some people from Soap Central, and we're going to meet up with people from other outlets tonight and things like that. So it's nice to get this time to meet and see our colleagues on the red carpet, because in the end, we all want the same thing. We're all reporting on the same stories and those types of things. And it's nice to get along.
So as you just said, you have a meeting with more soap colleagues, so we're going to wrap it up. That's it for our special post-Emmy show. I'm Alina Adams, and I wrote the book on the early days of soaps.
I'm Tina Charles.
And I'm Rachel Dillin. Thank you so much for joining us. And be sure to check out our Emmy coverage on soaphub.com and YouTube. Thank you.